"You will die like Gaddafi," a statement so chilling, so loaded with meaning, it sent shockwaves across continents. But this wasn't the voice of a rebel. No, these words came straight from the youngest president in the world, Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. Today on Trending News Plus, we uncover the message, the man, and the meaning behind a warning that may signal a historic turning point for Africa. Since rising to power in 2022, Captain Ibrahim Traoré has carved a distinct image for himself, radically different from the political elite that once dominated African governance. Much like the legendary Thomas Sankara before him, Traoré is positioning himself as a fierce anti-imperialist and a staunch advocate for African sovereignty. Traoré's leadership signals a shift, a bold declaration that Africa is done playing the puppet to Western strings. One of his most audacious moves came in 2023 when he ordered the withdrawal of French military assistance from Burkina Faso. To the West, it was a shocking decision. But to many Africans, it was a liberating act of independence. "We want win-win partnerships," he said bluntly. "Not relationships based on exploitation." And yet, while his anti-colonial stance has won him admiration, it has also made him a target. In a recent address, Traoré delivered a phrase that cut through the noise like a blade: "You will die like Gaddafi." The words were directed squarely at the West, and at the Africans Traoré accuses of betraying the continent. But why Gaddafi? To understand this warning, one must first understand the man it references. Muammar Gaddafi, Libya's longtime leader, was a complex figure, flamboyant, authoritarian, yet undeniably transformational. Under his rule, Libya became one of Africa's wealthiest nations. He built the world's largest irrigation project, the Great Man-Made River, as it was described by most media houses during that era. He provided free healthcare, free education, and subsidized necessities. He was Africa's strongest proponent for unity, once proposing a single African currency backed by gold, a move that would have shattered Western economic control. But Gaddafi's boldness cost him everything. In 2011, NATO-backed forces turned on him. Bombs fell. His irrigation project was destroyed. And eventually, Gaddafi was brutally killed. His death wasn't just the fall of a man, it was a symbol. A warning. A statement: challenge the West, and this is your fate. Now, Traoré is turning that message around. He's saying to the West and to African traitors, keep pushing, and the same fate awaits you. Traoré's fury is not reserved for the West alone. He reserves some of his sharpest criticism for what he calls Africa's greatest problem: traitors from within. These are the political elites and insiders who, in his words, sell their countries for personal gain. History supports his claim. During the transatlantic slave trade, it wasn't only foreign ships that tore Africans from their homes. Many were handed over by fellow Africans, kings and warlords who traded people for mirrors, guns, and gin. Colonialism? Same pattern. Divide and conquer. European powers promised luxury and power to a few Africans in exchange for loyalty, and they got it. Even in modern history, the great Thomas Sankara, Traoré's idol, was betrayed not by France directly, but by his closest ally, Blaise Compaoré, who later ruled Burkina Faso for 27 years with the blessing of the very colonial power Sankara tried to distance from. This, Traoré says, must stop. His government will no longer show sentiment or sympathy for those who sell out Africa's freedom. In his words, if there is any traitor among us, he should be taken out. Before we proceed, here is a reminder to like this video, drop a comment and subscribe to our channel so that you can get more videos like this. What's happening now isn't just about Burkina Faso. It's about a wider power struggle across Africa. The continent, rich in resources and potential, is once again the battleground for global influence, but this time, the game is different. Enter Russia. Enter China. Enter Turkey, India, Iran. These nations have started offering Africa something the West has long failed to deliver: partnerships based on mutual respect. And African nations are taking notice. From the coups in Mali and Niger to the military shake-ups in Guinea and Burkina Faso, a new narrative is taking shape. One where Africa is no longer willing to bow to the old masters. The West, of course, has responded predictably: accusations of Russian disinformation campaigns, sanctions, and warnings of instability. But to leaders like Traoré, these are just desperate attempts to retain control. Traoré's rise has not come without resistance. Since taking power, he has survived 4 attempted coups, allegedly backed by foreign interests. Some point fingers directly at France, which has a long history of meddling in its former colonies' affairs. Despite the threats, Traoré remains undeterred. His rhetoric has grown bolder, his vision clearer, and his resolve stronger. In his recent address, he made one thing crystal clear: those who seek to disrupt Burkina Faso's sovereignty, whether foreign or domestic, will face the consequences. Traoré's words might sound harsh to some, but they reflect a growing sentiment across Africa: enough is enough. For decades, African nations have been told what to do, how to vote, who to trade with, and how to govern. Traoré and others like him are flipping the script. They are calling for African unity, for economic independence, and for political systems that prioritize people over profit. What makes Traoré's movement so powerful is that it's not rooted in hate, it's rooted in history, in pain, and in a desire for freedom. His speeches are less about vengeance and more about liberation. Captain Ibrahim Traoré's message is clear: Africa must never again be defined by betrayal and exploitation. Those who repeat history's mistakes, whether wearing a suit in a Western capital or a uniform in an African barracks, will meet a fate that history remembers all too well. You will die like Gaddafi. It's not just a threat. It's a warning. A symbol. A declaration that the Africa of tomorrow is no longer a pawn, but a player. This is Trending News Plus, bringing you stories that matter, voices that challenge, and truths that echo across continents. Stay tuned. The revolution might just be televised. Like, share, and comment your thoughts below. Is Africa finally awakening? Or are these just echoes in a long-forgotten storm?